Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's DAF Hayomi Maseches KIDDUSHIN DAF Lamed Gimel. We are holding at the second line off the top of the Amud. Amar Mar, let's go back and review what we have learned in the Brisa, which tells us that, v'hadarta pnei zaken, to show honor, to show respect to a zaken. A zaken is a person who's a chacham, can perhaps mean something a bit different than the way we understand it. Yochel yadrenu b'momen, perhaps write him a check. Be mahader him by honoring him with a donation. How do you know? It means getting up for him. Perhaps it means monetarily. Talmud leimar takum v'hadarta. Take a close look at the pasuk. It says takum v'hadarta. So we connect the two ideas. We equate getting up to showing respect. Takum to v'hadarta. Makimo she'im b'chesaron kis. So just like standing up does not involve any monetary loss, af hidur she'im b'chesaron kis. Likewise, the term hidur described in the pasuk denotes honor, personal respect, not something which is meant to cost you money. So hidur is equated to kima, which is not something which has an expense. Really? V'kima leis b'chesaron kis. Who says getting up doesn't involve any monetary loss? Well, Mila Askina perhaps was speaking the Konokim Marganisa. He's there, carving diamonds. Okay? So stopping to get up for the Chacham can cause him a great loss. A minute less of cutting diamonds can be a big expense. He has to get up and stop working for that moment. Ella says the Gemara, rather, we'll start the other way. We have takum v'hadarta, right? Akish kima lehider. We'll connect kima, getting up, to v'hadarta in the pasuk, and we'll say it like this: Ma hidur she'ein bo bittul. Just like showing honor and respect isn't something which takes time, doesn't disrupt your activity, right? Because you could just show an honorary gesture. It doesn't involve actually stopping to work. Likewise, getting up does not entail work stoppage. Okay, so we learn from here that you don't stop your malacha to get up. Va'akish nami hidulakimo. So now we'll go the other way. Once you understand that, just like hidur doesn't involve bitul malacha, likewise kima. So now, if kima does not entail work stoppage, so inevitably there is no expense when you get up, right? So getting up does not involve chesaron kis. Af hidur she'ein b'chesaron kis. Likewise, hidur described in the pasuk is not something which is meant to cost you any money. So now we know that v'hadarta means showing respect, showing honor, giving him kavod, but it's not something which is meant to cost you money. Mikan amr, from here we learn that you don't stop work for this purpose. Ein bali umnoyos. People involved in some sort of trade, profession, busy working, they're not allowed to. They don't have to. Ein bali umnoyos rashoyin lamoid b'nei tamid chachamim b'shah she'oiskim b'malachtam. So they're not meant to stop their work for a Talmud Chacham. And Taisus says, either we're speaking ein rashoyin means they're not allowed to because they're employees, or according to the next pshat Taisus, even if it's his own business. And ein rashoy means you don't have to. Don't have to. It's not meant to cost you money. Really? V'loi, we have a Mishnah. In Bikurim, V'atanan, it says like this: Kol balim nuyos, mipneyem. So the new guests, the new arrivals, bringing their first fruit, the Bikurim, to Yerushalayim, to Beis Hamikdash. It's a very grand and exciting response. on account of the local Yerushalayim residents. So everybody stops in the middle of their work and gets up to greet the guests marching in with their Bikurim, V'sholim, V'shleimim, and they greet them. V'imrim lahem acheinu anshe mokim pleni, our brothers, residents of such and such New York. V'yachem l'shalom, your arrival should be with shalom. Clearly, you get up, even during work. Amar b'yechanan, the answer is like this. You're right. You get up for the Bali Bikurim, but not for an ordinary Talmud Chacham. It doesn't justify work stoppage. And Amar b'Yisrael b'Abin, Boyrei, come take a look. Look how precious is a fellow who's doing a mitzvah in its right way, in its right time. Look, everybody gets up, jumps out of their seats to greet the people bringing Bikurim because they're involved in a mitzvah b'shata, and they don't even get up for a Talmud Chacham. So we see the greatness of a mitzvah b'shata. Bottom line is, we established that getting up for a Chacham does not entail chisar and kiss, and Bikurim is different. Says the Gemara of Dilma Shani Hasam. Well, you're telling me Bikurim is so precious, it's a mitzvah b'shata, and it's even more, in a way, it's more precious than a Talmud Chacham. Basically, you have to get up for the Bali Bikurim, something which you don't do for a Talmud Chacham, if it involves work stoppage. Chaviva mitzvah b'shata. Really, how do you know that's the reason? V'dil mashani hasan. Maybe the reason there is because because otherwise you'll feel, just sit there passively, sort of ignoring the newcomers. Maybe they'll feel bad. It'll be perceived by them as a condescending attitude on account of the local Yerushalayim residents who just ignore us and don't greet us. So maybe they'll be discouraged from coming again. So there's a special exception, special reason there. You can't necessarily prove this concept of chaviva mitzvah b'shata that stands higher than a Talmud Chacham. Maybe when this reason wouldn't apply, suppose they're people who don't have that issue, that issue with self-confidence. They're chashiv people, they're known in the city, and they're not going to perceive it in a bad way if people don't stop and greet them. So maybe then, even though they're involved in a mitzvah b'shata, there's no justification for getting up and cutting work. Okay, in any case, that's a side point, but bottom line is, we've established one thing, that it's all about getting up and honoring a Talmud Chacham, right? It's not about providing him monetarily. It's about getting up, being mahader, showing him respect, and it doesn't have to involve chisar and kiss. In fact, a Baal Umnus need not get up. Amamar. What else did we learn that Bryce yesterday? Getting up is only if it's a show of respect. But Yachal Yambed Mepanav. Beis HaKisei, Beis HaMerchatz, what if he's in these areas? Does one get up for a Talmud Chacham? The answer is no. Because these aren't places that are conducive to showing respect. It's not expected, it's not necessary. Really? V'loi? No getting up in a Beis HaMerchatz? V'Reb Chia, Havi Yosef, B'Mos Chusa. Reb Chia was sitting in the bathhouse. V'Chalav, V'Azal, Rabbi Shimon Bar Rabbi. Rabbi Shimon passed by. V'loi Kamei. And Reb Chia did not get up. V'ikpit, and Reb Shimon was unhappy about that. V'as Amar Lavua. And Rabbi Shimon came to his father. His father was Rabbi Danasi. And he complained about Rabbi Chia. He says, Shnei Chumashim, Shnei Chaymashim. 2/5. By the way, we call it a chumash. What is a chumash? It's a fifth, a chaymesh. It's a fifth of the Chumash Torah. Chaymesh. So I taught him 2/5 of Tehillim. Shnei chaymashim. Shani Silay B'Sefer Tehillim Lo'yaman B'Panei. I taught him that much Torah. He didn't stand up before me. V'su, you have another story, a similar case, Bar Kapara. Some say it was involving Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi was sitting by his chus in the bath Al va'azab Shimon Rabbi. Shimon came in, and he didn't get up in front of Reb Shimon. V'ikbud, and he wasn't happy about it. He went to his father, and he says, Shnei shalishe shlish, 2/3 of a third, so basically 2/9. Shani shalei b'teres kahanim. I taught him a chunk of, the Sefer Teres Kohanim, all the brises, and he refused to get up from me. So Rabbi responded, try to pacify him. He says, Shema behen yeshiv mahar, try to appease him. He says, maybe it's exactly why he didn't get up, because he was so busy thinking about the Torah that you taught him. So perhaps it was just an appeasement, but Tosfos actually brings that, he didn't have to say it this way. He could have said, maybe he was learning, thinking about learning, and he was preoccupied. Why did he specifically mention Shema behen Yoshev Umahara, that perhaps he was actually engaged in reviewing the Torah that you taught him, the Torah's Kohanim that you yourself taught him. So don't take it as an affront. Actually, it's an honor. He was busily engaged in the Torah that you taught him. So he says that it was true, and he was mechaven. He hit the bullseye. It was like a Ruach HaKodesh, Soid Hashem Li Reyav, that actually he was sitting and thinking about exactly Torah's Kohanim. So in any case, that's how he appeased Reb Shimon. But we do see that it was expected. He was meant to get up even in the Beis HaMerchatz. So we excuse it because he was busy thinking and learning. But otherwise, lie. There would be no reason not to get up, even in the Beis HaMerchatz. And you told me otherwise. Like Kasha, it depends where in the Beis HaMerchatz. There were several compartments, places where they were dressed, places undressed. So it all depends where you are. If you're in the inner, rooms where you're undressed, it's not a place for honor. As opposed to the outer rooms. And that's where he was sitting, and that's why it was expected. But he was preoccupied, not explained his behavior. I'll prove that in fact is true, that he was sitting in the outer anteroom. How can we even suggest that he was learning in a Beis HaMerchatz? One may be mentally engaged in Limud Torah anywhere, except unclean areas. Chutz Beis HaMerchatz, Beis HaKisei, right? So how can we suggest that he was learning? No, maybe he was just preoccupied by learning. It wasn't premeditated. It was just, circumstantial. He was so busy learning that even in the Beis HaMerchatz, his mind was just revolving around Divrei Torah. So you never know. Maybe he was in the inner rooms, and therefore we can't really prove, in fact, that he was outside. But bottom line is, we do conclude that in the inner areas of the Beis HaMerchatz, where people are undressed, it's not a place of covet and honor. These halachas don't apply. But in the other areas, in the dressing areas where people are already lavush, then it's expected. And the Brisa continues. Yachol yatzim einav k'mishalei ra'o. So perhaps it's permissible to close your eyes, turn your back when the chacham arrives, so that you don't have to get up for him. People are just trying to, get out of a mitzvah. Why even discuss this? Ella, rather, the point of the pasuk is like this: Yachol yatzim einav mikami delimtai. We're going to learn in a minute. When do you get up? When the chacham is in close proximity, in your 4 amas, that's considered like your personal space. So he has arrived. You have to get up for him to show respect. But let's say he's a mile away and you see him coming. Before the Zman Chiv has arrived, before the Chiv was triggered, the Chimat Zman Chiv, so that when he comes and he's close by, which would typically necessitate getting up, well, he's not seeing him. His eyes are closed. So perhaps that's okay, because he did it before he arrived. He's not seeing him, which would require him to get up for him. That's what the pasuk says, Takum v'yaresa, to address just that very fact, just that very circumstance. You see it coming? Don't avoid it. Tana, we learned in a Brisa, on this same note, so we spoke about getting up in a way that it honors, it respects. When does that happen? It has to be nicker, it has to be noticeable, it has to be a personal expression. He has to be standing close by. is that he takes notice, that he appreciates, that it's truly an expression of honor. Havi Omer Zadalt Amis within your 4 Amis. Amar Maile Amarnal Rabbi Shani Muvak only applies to a regular Rebbe. Aval Barami Muvak, but if he's your permanent Rebbe, he taught you most of your Chachma. Mulayena, you have to show greater respect. As soon as you see him, you have to get up. In fact, Abaye himself conducted himself in that manner. Once he saw the air, the charm of the donkey of his Rebbe, the Rabbi Yosef, the Asi that was coming, he would ready to get up for him. Rabbi himself was riding a donkey. Kamaskin, he was trotting along Aguda on the riverbank, the Nahar Sagi of this river Sagi. Yasser of Mesharsh. Rabbanim, Bidachisa, there were Rabbanim on the other side. Come, he didn't get up for him. Amarlu, so he called out to them, V'lav Rav Muvakano, am I not your permanent Rebbe, your main Rebbe, your primary Rebbe? Should be getting up. Amarlu, they said, well, sorry, we didn't, Lamadaitin, excuse us, we haven't really noticed, we didn't pay attention, of course we would have gotten up for you. But, as we learned yesterday, Reb Shimon Elazar Omer, the Chacham should not overdo it, shouldn't take advantage. In fact, he should try to avoid burdening the crowd. Take a long way, take a roundabout route to avoid compelling them to get up for you. Torah warns the Zaken against burdening the crowd. We have a Kabbalah, the Makiv Chayif, in fact, he takes a longer route. To avoid that, he will live longer. Abaye Makiv. Abaye would take a longer route, a roundabout route. Rabbi Zera Makiv. Ravina Yasser Kamei, Ravina was sitting in front of Yirmiyah Midifti. Chalav Au Gavram Kamei, this fellow walks by without his head covered, which was an expression of, chutzpah, lack of respect for the tzaddik. Omar, so he says, Kama Chotzav HaGavram. Look how disrespectful this fellow is. So this is Ravina speaking. Amar, so Yirmiyah says, well, Dimma Mata Machasinu. Maybe it comes from a Mata Machasin, the Gisva Rabbanon. They hang around with Rabbanim, a lot of Rabbanim in the area, and they're not so impressed when they see Rabbanim. So it's not necessarily a show of lack of respect. It's just he's not really enthralled by the scene, and he doesn't realize that it's required. Easy when you daimer. If they say v'takum, I feel close to mashma. According to Isi ben Yehuda, you get up even for a Rosh HaMa'aretz. Rabbi Yehuda halacha ki Isi ben Yehuda. In fact, that's how we paskin. You get up for a zaken, even if he's not a chacham, even if he's an Ha'ma'aretz. In fact, Rabbi Yehuda took it a step further. Havakai mikame. Here he would get up in front of Sabi Darmoi, an older guy. Why? Amar, he says like this: Kamar patki. How many experiences throughout his lifetime did this fellow experience? Adu alayu dahani. How much harpatki, how many happenances, and Rashi says, mikrois v'tsarais v'ro nisim mahar b'yamayivsim. Beautiful Rashi. Even a guy, non-Jew, you know what? Once you get to a certain point, you start seeing the truth. How many miracles, how many happenances, supernatural things did he see? He has life experience. And even though he's a guy, sometimes you meet even an older guy, they have what to say. They have what to say about life, and Rabbi Yehuda gave them respect. They realize, ultimately it's the one above running the world. If they're honest about things, it's not about about themselves and what they did and what they planned. It's all about Hashem running the world. There's a certain element of amunah and bitachon that typically even a guy would have once he gets to that stage in life and he achieves clarity and maturity. So Rabbi Yehuda would honor them and respect them. Kamar patki odu alayu dani. Rava make him like Rava wouldn't actually get up for them, but hidur avadu, he would do hidur, like a gesture of respect. Abai yav yodel asabi, and Abai himself would actually put his hand out to help the older goyim walk. Rava Meshad Shluchi, Rava would send his shliach to do that. Rav Nachman Meshad Gezoy, Rav Nachman, who was a relative of the Nasi, would have bodyguards walking around next. He would send them to help the guy, but he himself would not degrade himself. Omar, he says, look, Ilaf Torah, if not for the Torah that I learned, Kama Nachman Bar Abba, you can find many Nachman Bar Abbas in the street. Basically, he wasn't giving himself credit. It was the Torah within him that he was trying to preserve and to protect, so he would send somebody else to represent him in this. Amar Rav Aiba Amar Rav Yanai Ein Talmud Chacham Ra Shelamed Bei Rabbi Ela Shachris V'Arvis. A Talmud Chacham doesn't need to get up for his Rebbe more than twice a day. Once in the morning, once in the evening. You know why? You can expect more to the Rebbe than to Hashem. You know, you greet Hashem twice, once in Shachris, once in Arvis. Once in the morning, once in the afternoon. So therefore, the cover to a Rebbe does not need to exceed that. So either it means tefillah in the morning and the evening when Chamarva guys go together, or it means the Krishma Shal Shachar, the Krishma Shal Arvis. May you say we have a kash on this. Rabbi Shimon Lazar Oimah Menayish L'Zaken Shlei Yatriach. Like we just learned, the Zaken should be careful not to burden the crowd. Tamulayim Zaken be a racer, right? We learned from that pasuk. Now, how many times is he coming in and burning them? B'yamis Shachas Ravas Alvad. Well, in any case, we're talking about the most twice a day. Amar lo nitrach chiyuvahu. So why shouldn't he walk and have them get up? It's their basic obligation. He's not overdoing it. Elav kol yom. Oh, apparently they're getting up anytime throughout the day, and that's why the Gemara says, look, he should limit his appearances. He should, try to avoid burdening them. So clearly, they're mechuyev to get up, a limitless amount of times. Answers the Gemara, no, we're speaking about twice a day. Even so, that's their obligation, but he shouldn't necessarily try to, be mezaka them with this mitzvah. That's their obligation, and he has his obligation to minimize that burden. A chacham who refuses to get up for his Rebbe is called a rasha. He won't have a long life. I'll forget his learning. Shanama pasuk says like this: "V'toiv lo yel a rasha." A rasha will not be zeicha to toiv. Toiv, of course, is Torah, right? Kilkach toiv nasati lachem. V'lo yarech yamim ketzel asher einenu yorei milifnei Elokim. And he won't have longevity. He's compared to a shadow which comes and goes. Why? Because he's not a yorei. Now, what does that mean? Meirazu. When we speak about fear and awe, well, in what context? So we have the other pasuk. Get up for a zaken, get up for a seva, and then it says v'yireisim elikecha. So showing this expression of honor is linked to Yiras Hashem. Harei meirazu kima. So we see this meira is referring to getting up for the chacham, and the fellow who's not doing that will have all those ramifications. Says the Gemara, but there are other places in the Chumash where v'yiresa is discussed. For instance, ve'ema muras ribis, when the Torah warns against taking interest. Muras mishkal is warning against being dishonest in terms of the weights, in business. So why are we being, how do we know this pasuk? Because he's not Yorim of Elokim. How do you know, speaking about this type of lack of Yira for a Talmud Chacham, maybe he's violating the other things? Answer is, Rabbi Lezer, who taught us this lesson, Pnei Gomer. He focused on the word Pnei. He says, Asher einenu Yori milifnei Elokim, and that's the same lashon that we have over here, Pnei, Seva Tokum. So a fellow who disregards that ends up in bad shape. Ibaylu b'noi v'hu Rabbi Mau Lamud Pnei Aviv. So let's say a father has a son, and the son happens to be the Rebbe, the teacher of the father. So now, father walks into the room. Does the son get up for the father? Well, after all, he's a son. But on the other hand, if anything, he's deserving of respect because he's the Rebbe of the father. Which way do we go? Tashma will prove it from the following story. To Amar Lei Shmuel Rabbi Yehuda. Shmuel turned to Rabbi Yehuda, who was a Rebbe of his father. We had this the other day in DAF Lamed Beis. He actually corrected his father in learning So Shmuel tells Rabbi Yehuda Shin, a sharp one. Kum mikam yavuch. He went to get up for your father. So clearly, even though he's his Rebbe's teacher, his father's teacher, he has to get up for him. Well, says the one, that's a different case. That's an exception. Shani Rabbi Cheskel, perhaps, Rabbi Cheskel, who was Rabbi Yehuda's father, was outstanding in other ways, although not in Torah, but in Chesed and Stucca, the Baal Masam Havas. So maybe that's different. That, justifies his son getting up for him, even though his son is his Rebbe. Even Mar Shmuel, Nami, he would get up for Rabbi Cheskel because of that special thing, because he was a Baal Masam. So there's no, you can't prove anything from there. It says the more, if that's the reason, so why did Shmuel have to tell him to get up? It's obvious. Everybody sees, even Shmuel gets up for him, for Rabbi Cheskel, right? So why do you have to instruct Rabbi Yehuda specifically to get up? You know why? He's trying to tell him something like this. Of course you have to get up for him, but don't be concerned that perhaps it's going to be a show of disrespect to myself, to Shmuel, who was Rabbi Yehuda's Rebbe. Zimnan de asim achayra. He might, one time it so happens that he might be coming from behind me. This is Shmuel speaking, right? You're sitting in front of me learning, and your father shows up behind me, and I don't notice him, so I don't get up for him, right? Still, even then, you'll be the only one getting up, and it looks like you're sort of ignoring that you're Rebbe. You're ignoring me. Kum atmi kama, you should get up for him. Don't worry about my honor and my respect. So bottom line is, we thought we had a conclusion to our Shaila. We didn't really conclude. So the first question was, son is the Rebbe, does the father get up for him? What about, if the son is a Rebbe, does the son get up for the father? Now comes a new question. So let's say the son is the father's Rebbe. What about the father getting up for the son? Typically you get up for a Rebbe, but here the father, that's why the father was a Talmud of the son. Does he have to get up for the son? Tashma, the Rosh Levi, Ani Eini Kedai Lamed, B'pnei B'ni. I'm not supposed to be getting up for my son. The reason why I do it is because it's a show of honor to his family. My son married into the family of the Nasi. Ela B'pnei Mishum Kavod Beis Nasi. So because of that, I get up for him. Right? So I'm my son's Rebbe. I shouldn't be getting up for him at all. It's only because he married to the Nasi's family. That's why I do it. So we learn like this. He was trying to teach us something. Tama da'ana Rabbi. Why am I not getting up for him? I'm only doing it because of the Nasi. Otherwise I wouldn't, because I'm his Rebbe. Ha'ihu Rabbi. But let's say he was be my Rebbe. I would get up for him. It's back to back, I'm his father. So we see the answer is yes. He meant like this. Truthfully, I wouldn't get up for my son. Even if he would be my Rebbe, I wouldn't, because I'm his father. I'm his father. Rather, because of the honor of the Beis Hanasi, I do get up. So the reason why I wouldn't get up is not necessarily because I'm a Rebbe. Even without that factor. Simply because I'm a father, I don't get up for my son. But here it's different because of the Nasi. Here comes an interesting question. Iboilu, the Bnei Yeshiva wanted to know. Rachav k'mahalach dami oiloi. Okay, so if the Rebbe is standing in front of you, you get up. He's walking, get up for him. What if he's sitting and riding on a wagon, in a car? He's stationary, which wouldn't necessarily require us to get up for him. It's like he's sitting. You don't get up in front of a Rebbe, you're sitting, right? But maybe he's not really considered like he's sitting, because although he's in a sitting position, but he's in a wagon that's moving. He's en route. He's in motion. So it's like he's walking. You have to get up for him. Rachav, one who is riding on something. So he's in a sitting position where he's riding. K'mahalach dami eloi, is it considered as though he's walking or not? Amar Mai Tashma, I'll prove from an interesting case. Tashma. Tame yoishev tachas ilan v'toyer oimid. So the pasuk says like this: the person who has leprosy, has saras, is tummy, and in fact, his abode is tummy as well. So let's say he's under a roof, He's in a house, he's in a room, he's under a tree, and he's sitting there. It says, his place of residence, so to speak, is he's stationary, he's sitting in that place, and therefore that place sort of assumes his identity, it relates to him, and it becomes tamei and is metamei anybody found there. Okay, so he needs to be sitting in order to spread his tumah. But if he's just walking by, it doesn't really affect the area around him. Okay, so you have a tamei yoshev tachas ilan, a fellow with tzaras sitting under a tree, v'tar omed, and a fellow who is tar is standing there under the same tree. What happens? Tamei becomes tamei because the tumah transfers. What if the tamei is omed tachas ilan? So tamei now is standing under the tree, not sitting. V'tar yoshev, and a fellow who's tar is sitting there. It's okay. He's okay. He's tar. Because there's no tumah being spread because the mitzvah is not sitting. If the mitzvah sat down, hatar tamei. Now the tar becomes tamei. Okay, that's part one of the Mishnah. And here comes the main part for us. The same exact formula applies. You know, there is tzaras pertaining to a person, pertaining to his clothing, pertaining to his house. You have a stone of a home that has a nega. Same idea. Somebody's carrying the stone, walking by. With that stone, nothing happens. Until the fellow transporting that stone takes a seat. Well, what do you mean? The stone was sitting all along. No, we don't reckon with the stone. Stone is riding, although he's in a sitting position, so to speak. Stone is stationary, but when you're being transported, it's as though you're walking. There's no permanence. You don't check into the area until you stop. So the person carrying that stone sits down. So what do we see? This teaches us that a ruch of something which is riding, transported, like the stone, is treated like he's walking. Despite the fact that the actual rider, in this case the stone, is in sitting position, is in a stationary state. We don't care because he's being carried by something who's moving. That proves our point. A chacham riding on a donkey, in a car, etc., is considered k'mahalach dami and requires us to stand up for him. Iboilu, a new question was asked. Mao lamid play sefer Torah. So we get it for a chacham. What about for a sefer Torah? Rav Chilki, Rav Simon, Rav Lazar, Amri, of course you do. Kal v'chaymer, b'nei loim deo. We get it for those who learn the Torah. Of course, we get it for the Torah itself. Rabbi Eloi, Rabbi Yaakov, Rabbi Zavdi, Rabbi Yasvi, they were sitting. Chal, who passed by? Rabbi Shimon Rabba, come in, they get up for him. Amelie says, you don't have to get up. Unnecessary. For two reasons. Chada, number one, Da'atun Chakimi, I'm much less than you. You are to me the Chacham. I'm just a Chaver. I'm, a colleague. V'oid. Some say a Chaver means a person who's, on a level, but not on the same level as a Chacham. His Nizr is Medachlik B'mitzvahs, right? We have a Lashon Chaver in Mishnayos many times. So, okay, I'm something, but not on your level. So that's number one. Number two, you were engaged in Talmud Torah. You were immersed in Torah. What are you doing getting up for me? V'oid klum Torah. You're learning Torah. You embody the Torah at this point. You're attached to the Torah. You're fusing with the Torah. So it's like the Torah getting up for one who learns the Torah. Me, klum Torah imendes made loim dea. Savak Rabbi Lezer. He was like Rabbi Lezer. Dam Rabbi Lezer. Ain't Talmud Chacham Rashi Lamid. Mipnei Rabbi. A Chacham shouldn't get for his Rabbi B'Shosh. Like I said, with everyone is learning Torah, because he identifies with the Torah itself at that point. You can't just and light Allah. Abai sort of applied a curse. He negated this halacha that it makes no difference. You're learning Torah, not learning Torah. You get up for the Talmud Chacham. Now the pasuk says, "V'bitu achrei Moshe." This was in the Midbar. They would gaze at Moshe as he was walking back home, ad boyai, until he arrived at his tent ha'ela. Was it a positive gaze or a negative one? So we have machlokes between Rav Ami and Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha. Chadam l'gnai, one interpreted it negatively, v'chadam l'shvach, and one positively. Madam l'gnai, the one that interpreted the gnai, kedisa, like the Medrash says. Rashi explains that the Gemara did not want to specify. Very, very disrespectful, attitude that they exhibited at that point. So he brings the Medrash Rabbi Tanchuma. I'll just read the words. Ru'u, come take a look. Kama avim shoikav, kama tzavari shamein. Look how big he is. Hakal mashalani. It's all, we paid for it all. He's being supported by us. So it was a very disrespectful reference to Moshe Rabbeinu. Ma'adam l'shvach, whereas the other one who interpreted it positively, Amar Chizke. So Chizke explains, Amar li Rab Chanina b'eder Avo, Rav O, Rav Divin Chayfa. The reason why they were looking, standing and watching, is because Moshe had a title of Nasi. He was a supreme leader, and they were standing there waiting until he gets home. And only then can they turn around and go back to business. Because there are different levels in terms of showing respect, depending on the on the madrega of the chacham. Chacham, an ordinary standard chacham, over when he's passing by, so when he gets into your 4 amma area, you get up for him. Once he passes out of the dal damas zone, you sit down. Head of the bezin, over passing by, as soon as you see him, you get up for him. Once he passes out of the dal damas zone, you sit down. Nasi is the highest of all. Moshe Rabbeinu, right? Like a king. When he passes by, as soon as your eye catches him, you get up for him. When do you sit down? Until the Chacham took his seat. How do we know this? From this pasuk. They were standing, gazing, watching Moshe Rabbeinu. Ad boyoy ha'olam Moshe Rabbeinu was a nasi until he got home. They would stand and wait. And that teaches us some halachas regarding show respect to a Talmid Chacham depending on his level. Okay, so we discussed getting up and showing hidur and kavod for Talmid Chachamim. It doesn't have avchasar and kiss. It just means getting up, not losing at parnasa. Bikurim was different. Even in the Beis HaMerchatz, in a place where respect is in place, like the Batik Baroi, it was expected. One should not try to, avoid getting up, like ignoring the Chacham as he approaches. At the same time, the Chacham should make it easier, should not be matriach the crowd. Some Amroim were even meticulous, even regarding Goyisha as a Canaan. We have the Chiv of only twice a day. Now we have the 2 shilas regarding the son who's a Rebbe. Does he get up for his father? Does his father get up for him? And then we concluded that the Rachav has a din of Mahalach. And we get up for the Sefer Torah, of course. And Abaye held that even the Chacham who was involved in learning has to get up for his Rebbe. And then we learned the 3 levels regarding the shear of getting up. Chacham, then comes the Av Bezin, and the Nasi, like Moshe Rabbeinu. They watched him until he got home, and only then they turn around and resume business. All the best to you, and Hatzlacha Rabbah.